The barber work gets a little better. The talent level goes up. We add a little more personality to it. Hour one, guess what? At the man, Sean Callahan. We will bring him in. Sean, what's up?
Hey, it's great to be back out here. It's been a few weeks. Jay,
yeah.
We got a while, maybe a couple months. It seems like
we got the Husker Hall of Famer Jay Foreman. Good to see you.
What's up?
We're about to find out. All these things. 402-464-5685 Starter Heyman text line, Honda Lincoln hotline. If you want to add to the conversation, hit us with a what's up, and then we can include you in the conversation. Starter Heyman live video stream. Again, you can see what's going on down at Tanner's, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter live. You can see what's going on down here. We've got some T-shirts to give away. We're going to have a special guest later in the 5 o'clock hour as well. Can do that. Jay Foreman, let them know about the Mercado.
Certified Piedmontese and special ingredients and butcher shop, 84th and Havelock. Any type of cut or any type of meat, any type of cut. It is on come Friday.
Yeah,
I got to call down there and see if they got any Christmas specials, man.
Get some prime rib.
They do.
Yeah.
Do. I think they're
Christmas
loading up a
packages.
tomahawk for you.
We need to, for me, not anybody else, but we got to see. We got to have a little Jay Foreman Christmas package. We got to get down there and get that started.
I think that's a good idea.
44 days of Christmas and give you every little thing in that butcher shop.
44-ounce ribeye.
44, yeah, right. And then top you off with that strawberry sorbet.
Yeah, the sorbet
the
is
sorbet.
Yeah.
I went there Saturday and my kids got there. They'd love that.
Yeah, the sorbet is really good, man.
That's the one to get. I mean, I'm a chocolate sorbet. Hey, Jake, let me give you that. Can you plug that in so I don't go.
Apple pie sorbet there too.
Sean, we're open, man. I mean, whatever you suggest. I know you've probably been there more than we have. What's your go-to?
Well, I went there Saturday and got meat for the week. We got a pot roast. We got, I got a couple things from the grab and go for lunch, and we got some sorbet. I've got a flat iron steak to make tacos with this week. So we got our weekly meat there this week. And the key is the drive, getting out there. Or if you live south, you got a little.
A little work.
It's worth the drive, though.
A little work.
We're East guys, so it's a little easier for you to get out there.
Hey, Sean, you know what I love when we're here for this hour? We get to ask you all the questions. I get to sit here and just grill you all the time. I love it, man. I get to grill you, but the comings and goings, the goings and comings.
Let's talk staff, right? We got to get the staff.
Let me ask you this, Sean. In your opinion, okay, just overall landscape, and I know there's dynamics, to how people get hired when they get hired. The longest search in NCAA history of modern man. Okay, this is in this time. We've done it not once but twice. Then it's taken past the Friday deadline. That was supposed to be the Friday deadline of having the staff done, right? Now, does this affect recruiting or hinder recruiting, or is this right along the path because with the 8-year contract, that runway is very, very long?
Yeah,
as far as you have more time. It's not like you got to win tomorrow.
Yeah, Rule's definitely gone into this feeling like he's got time to do it his way. There's no gun to his head to.
It's not an NFL type of thing.
Force these hires. I mean, because Nebraska's committed $74 million for 8 years to this guy, and they can't, they can't push it. But I think there's a lot of intrigue about this coordinator hire and who they're going to get.
Defensive
coordinator hire. Because when you have a $7 million staff pool, which is significantly more than what it was before, almost $2 million more. I think, the Nebraska fans, as you guys know, are smart fans, and they kind of know what a $7 million staff pool should get. And
you just didn't put yourself out there now. I'm pretty slick now. I got you now. You teed yourself up for.
So for a coordinator, this defensive coordinator hire, I think. The expectations are high. I'm not saying Jim Leonard's going to be coming here, but that's the kind of guy you expect. And an optimistic Nebraska
optics
fan.
Better be good.
That's the kind of coordinator hire, and there aren't really very many clues out there. I mean, Phil Snow, Mike Saravo are names tied to Rule. Jeff Collins, former Georgia Tech head coach, tied to Rule, but are they going to get out of that like Carolina Panther, Temple, Baylor family and get somebody like a Jim Leonard? I mean, that's what we don't know. We know the linebackers coach Dvorak is a Rule guy from Carolina. He's talked to the recruits already. We know Raiola's coming back. We broke that at Husker Line last night, and then we feel like Jake Peets is done as quarterback. So what's it come down to? defensive coordinator, receivers coach. Who are those guys?
Do you think we have do we think I'll save how you just teed yourself up for me about the staff, because I hadn't seen you in a while and I'm in the Christmas spirit. Okay, so I want to ask you about the receiver coach specifically, since it seems like with this staff, it's a lot of young guys, inexperienced. So one of the guys, former Husker, kind of along the line of Pete's, not really, well-known Husker. Joe Daly was his receiver coach was his receiver coach in Carolina. Do you think he is a possibility to come with Rule? Kind of fits the script of what he's been doing, and he's coached in college, and he's a young and up-and-coming coach that he had kind of was grooming at that point in time.
I think you're right, Jay. I mean, I think he's a guy to watch. Obviously, a week ago, before things got crazy, Mickey Joseph was probably in line if they could have agreed to terms, and we all know
probably wouldn't have happened.
I don't know if they would ever have agreed to the terms. I mean, Mickey's asked to stay, as we know, was going to be high, and I don't know if it was going to be if it was going to work. But
yeah,
Joe Daly, you're right. I mean, there's a lot of
fits the script, fits the
New Jersey Husker,
young, inexperienced, but has a ton of potential.
So, I mean, he was at Kansas for a while at one point in his career. He was down there. I'm trying to think who
was he at Coastal Carolina? He was in Carolina or somewhere.
Yeah, Turner Gill brought him up the ranks as a coach, and he left here after 1 year with Bill Callahan. It was a bad year. He was here more than 2 years total. Solch year, Callahan year. But Zach Taylor basically took the job from him in 2005, and then he left. But Joe Daly makes a lot of sense. You're right. I mean, I think you've got to go someone like that with his background for the hire.
That's not mine. Oh, thank you. Also, I wanted to ask about the defensive coordinator. How do you think the coordinator position is already kind of decided? Sometimes they can't announce it, for various reasons. And if that's the case or isn't the case, how hard will it be if it's somebody that's not familiar with the staff that they have? Say it's just like we hired Jay Foreman and he's just been a good and upcoming from Wyoming, from whatever. How hard will it be for him to come in without any familiarity to gel as a defensive staff? Because as we've seen, that's huge.
Yeah, and there's guys leaving. I mean, Jamari Butler left.
Yeah, we haven't even got into that yet.
That's a blow. I mean, Jaden Gold, a blow. Obviously, Ernest Hausman, he's going to probably end up somewhere nice like Michigan. I mean, that's a blow.
Yeah.
So
it's a blow both ways.
And then
he's in for a blow of reality.
O'Shawn probably gone, and he played well at Iowa. Garrett Nelson on the fence, and I'm not saying Garrett Nelson's going pro. I mean, Garrett Nelson may just say, you know what, I don't want to be a part of a 2-10 or 3-9 deal for my last year with a degree in hand. I might want to go somewhere else. I mean, so that's the reality.
Grad transfer,
what Nebraska's facing right now are those types of things.
Oh yeah.
And if you're Garrett Nelson, who's already
been through it for 5 years or 4 years, does he want to go through it? In that COVID year almost counts as 2, because that was a lot.
Yeah, this will be. I mean, he's played 4 years.
I mean, and just on your mind and body and stuff.
So Garrett, and he'd have plenty of options if he went in the portal. He
would have some options.
Hell, he could go to Iowa or Wisconsin. A lot of Big Ten teams would line up to take Garrett Nelson.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's a lot of choice. I mean, that all goes into when you hire a new coach, when you have an 8-year contract. Those are the things that kind of these are not oblivious. Nebraska's not immune to this. It happens all the time.
Well, you both just mentioned the thing, and you both talked about year one. Is that? I mean, there is the whisper. Is that a concession that you expect very little in year one because it's too much?
There we go, Sean. He didn't put. See, he good cop, bad cop. He's taking over today.
Well, no, I mean, but this is the conversation. It's like you just said. Garrett is pondering. For the returning players that are pondering, they've got some idea of what they want their last year to be based on what they've already been through.
It's a concession not knowing what this team's going to look like right now, not knowing what the quarterback's going to be. What if Casey Thompson has to get shoulder surgery like he's talked about? And if you research the kind of injury he has, I believe it's a slap shoulder injury. It's a 6-month recovery. So what do you do if you're Matt Rule at Satterfield? Like, hey, our quarterback that we want to build it with, he's going to be out 6 months. How do we kind of implement what we want to do in the spring if Thompson needs surgery, what's the NIL collectives do with a guy like Thompson, who, if he stays, the money you'd have to commit to him is high. Well, what if he's not the starter and you got to give him a ton of money to stay? So it's a really tough deal, I think, with quarterback and some of these roster questions, like what's Anthony Grant going to do? What's A.J. Allen going to do? Who are going to be the receivers? Would Keegan Johnson ever consider coming here not knowing the quarterback situation?
Or the system? We don't know what system.
Notre Dame and K-State top teams that want him right now. He's already leaving a place that had a bad quarterback situation. He's not going to go somewhere where they don't know the quarterback. So, yeah, I think, when you study Matt Rule's coaching career, year ones have been tough, the way he goes about it. And then it gets better in year 2, and year 3 is when it really goes. I'm
going to put you both on the spot. I was asked on a show this morning about this, and I didn't really have the answer that I thought I was going to have. If Matt Rule is looking at this roster, who are the must-have returning guys? Who are the guys that you have to make sure that you recruit them and get them back in the door and keep them in the door?
Garrett Nelson, A.J. Allen, Anthony Grant.
Guys that are Big Ten ready, Big Ten not just good, but guys that you're going to build this you're going to hold this program together with a group of guys who are currently on the roster.
Ty Robinson, Colton Feast, Stephon Wynn, Garrett Nelson, those 4 guys on the front. If you can have those guys, at least you got a base. Then you got to probably find some portal guys to support them. But that group right there gives you something to start with on the defensive front, with Reimer and Henrich returning as well.
Jay, what are your thoughts?
Well, the 8-year contract, you ain't got to keep nobody. I mean, at the end of the day, you don't. There isn't anybody that's a must-have, because we have must-haves. Matt Rule wouldn't be employed here. Now, how I would have went about it is, even though we are quote unquote undercover rebuilding, won't say it, but we actually are. I mean, when you start, from scratch and everybody's gone, no holdovers except for Donnie, is the guys that I would essentially attack or make sure that I get on board with my stuff is like a Garrett Nelson, Nick Heinrich for sure, a Colton Feast for sure, because he deserves to be on scholarship, number 1. Number 2, it sends true intrinsic shockwaves through the program that I'm going to do. I'm a man of my word, and I'm going to do something honorable to reward a player that's a local player and a walk-on with a scholarship. Actually, the first week and first year,
he's still a walk-on.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. Which should have been handled before. So that's how you do it, because that's the PJ Fleck method. That's what he did with Blake Cashman. Blake Cashman now plays on Sundays. I would take care of those 3 players, particularly on defense.
And you let him keep his NIL deal. Give him a scholarship and give him the NIL.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm not dipping into anybody's pocket, rewarding you for something that somebody else didn't do. So I'm taking care of those 3 players. Offensively, I would just look at the medical with Casey, you know what I'm saying, and be very upfront with them. Okay, we're going to get a guy that potentially could, start if you're not come back healthy, or if you get hurt. You're our starter. We need you. You're a good ambassador of leadership. He's number 1 on offense. And then number 2 is 2 guys, A.J. Allen and Anthony Grant, kind of running backs. You got the senior to be up-and-coming guy coming off and showing that, and this running back coach has to do that. And then I'm trying to find a offensive lineman that I feel like I can depend on next year.
Fedoni would be up there probably too,
no.
right? No, you're not.
He hasn't done anything. He ain't even played. Like, I want to keep you, but the foundation guys, the guys that people are going to listen to and gravitate in the locker room is the Garrett Nelsons, the Nick Heinrich. And I would try to find a lineman that I know that
Prohaska
project to be starting.
Prohaska.
And that has a leadership. And then that's how I'd build my team. And then obviously, you got guys on, like your Marcus Buford and stuff like that.
Yeah, Buford's a good leader.
Yeah, and so those are the guys also that you need on board. I would have like anywhere from 12 to 20 of those guys. And that has to be from the intel that hopefully you get from, if there's anybody in the building,
whoever's left.
Yeah. So whether it's Trev or some, you know what I mean? Trev knows. I mean, Trev's not sitting up there and oblivious. So I would do that, and then I would build from there, because you can do both. you only choose to do one.
Does Trev have say so in how Matt Rule puts this roster together, holds this roster together?
No.
Is he advising at all?
He doesn't even want it.
Right.
I mean, if Trev's not going to walk in and tell Matt Rule, you need to be recruiting this guy. That's just not the AD's job. I would hope not.
He would just, I mean, you would think that the coach would ask the AD, that's his boss and partner in this. They're both partners now. And then find out where, who's who and get the intel on everybody. That's what you do. And that's how you build a program, because they're the transition guys, but you still can win. And you could still possibly, if you do a really good job re-recruiting those guys and getting those guys bought in, you really can like backdoor your way into a bowl game and still be able to be okay in your next year. When you try to re-recruit those guys and have no intention of winning, and then you end up like 2-10 because you got, a freshman offensive guard, and you're just getting obliterated, then you're actually a year or two behind it. You want to have those guys bought into your vision, because those are the guys that can control the narrative in the locker room. The coaches only can do so much per NCAA rules. The guys that they are at Tanner's with, the guys that they work out with, the guys that they talk to in the locker room when the coaches aren't really allowed in the locker room, are the guys that can kind of have the pulse of the locker room and kind of relay your message. And when the message is true, those guys ideally would be in, and they'll be fine. So that's probably the most interesting of the offseason. And whether all these guys that go in the portal, will you come back? And I'll tell you this, there's so many kids in the portal. There's going to be a ton more. Going somewhere that you think is more high profile than Nebraska might be the worst choice you could do if you're in the portal.
Who do you suspect would be leaning towards coming back, or that you think would end up coming back?
Well, are they allowed back? Because if it was me and I'm coaching, you go in the portal.
You can jump out of. Well,
no. See, this is not conditional here.
Right.
Like, you want to jump in the portal, you jumped in there, and I'll holler at you later.
In this type of situation, if you're out, you're out.
Right.
I don't see Matt Rule. Like, you better know what you're doing. There's 10 scholarship entries. Or Isaiah Garcia Castaneda was 11 from earlier in the year.
Mm-hmm.
But so there's like 11 from last year's roster in
Okay.
now. My question is it going to get to 20? Like, how much higher?
Why not?
I think it's a 45-day window, and we're like in day
5.
I mean, do we know?
Not even that. It was the 5th. Hey, we
3.
We 30.
I mean, do we know the
in.
number? Do we know the number of roster spots that Matt Rule is going to have to fill to be?
Well, they're at like
75 now,
they're
right?
65. They're at 65 without the recruits.
Oh, that's right, because of senior.
Yeah.
So
I've updated it. I'm keeping some guys on there, but remember, like what you said, Colton Feast is not listed on the scholarship chart because he's getting an NIL deal. Like, even Brody Belt wasn't on there. Wyatt Lever. I mean, there were guys that played scholarship reps that were getting NIL deals,
right,
that were off scholarship.
What happens, Sean, with those deals?
Well, so ABM's they're done. Like, this is like their last month, and I think they made their last payments. 1890 initiatives and the Big Red Collaborative are the two collectives. The 1890 initiative has taken over the ABM operation, but they haven't really. I don't think anyone has signed on yet.
I was going to say, have they renewed?
Yeah, we gotta
have
go
they?
see them.
What's that?
Yeah, we gotta go see them.
Well, I mean, you would
Yeah.
think. I mean, because there's some people of note. I mean, as you mentioned, Casey Thompson, who has things in play.
Like, he's got an apartment right now. He's got a car.
Yeah.
Like, there's things.
When does that turn over? When does that bridge from what was to what is? And then when does
Right
Matt?
now, I mean,
Right.
right now, like, you've
January.
got to, like, before Christmas, you've got to get your guys re-signed. And I think there's been a cautious, approach, because you want to make sure you understand what Rule wants to do, with the team and these players. Like, 1890 initiative or Big Red Collaborative can't just start signing guys to deals. Like, you can't commit $200,000 to Casey Thompson on NIL opportunities if you don't even know he's going to be the guy, right?
Well, that's why I'm curious, right? Because that makes me more curious. What's exactly when does this new regime become active in full? Because if you've got two different offshoots that have some say so and some control with money, or at least being active with money with players, and then you've got recruiting, and then you've got transfer portal, when does this
I mean,
Matt,
right now,
right now, is he?
like this week? Yeah, 1890 is fully operating. I know that, and this weekend, there's 12 visitors coming in already that we know about. So they'll this is the weekend. The Rule NIL wing of things has to get going and get things figured out. And guys, it's such a big part. And Nebraska was ahead of the game a year ago at this time. Now everyone's caught up, but they had a pretty good infrastructure. And I know Rule has said that behind the scenes, like what they had in place, these 6-month, 12-month agreements that they had guys on, what was a pretty good system that no one else was doing at the level of Nebraska. And now they've got to figure out how to stay with the rest of NIL, get your boosters on board and figure this out.
And then the organization and structure of boosters around the state, because this is not Lincoln focused. They're outliers and folks that are in different places. How will that be organized, and when will we know what the plan is? Like who?
I don't think you ever know the plan of NIL. It's kind of like
but that's part that's my
well,
question.
the people that are again. I mean, when they're sitting down with the kids, they'll know, but we don't need to know.
It's almost to the point, and Simple and I have talked about this, like coaching is important still, but finding guys that are great recruiters, it's not what it used to be because of the NIL. I mean, the NIL collective is your best recruiting tool in a lot of respects. I mean,
in some phases.
If you're at Tennessee and you have 17 million right now to hand out, I mean, that
it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be good. That's kind of like, I think that's a lazy way to think it.
But the guys that you get may not look at A&M.
Yeah. I mean, if you're getting NIL money from Alabama and you're winning national championships, it don't matter what somebody else is coming to give you for a year. Kids aren't that. I mean, you'll see sometimes when you have a lot of money, you're out there desperation shopping. You're convincing yourself something that they're not. They're still in the transfer portal. You know what I mean? Will Anderson from Alabama is not in the transfer portal. That dude is a dude. The dudes that you're getting are your buyer's remorse. Most of the time, the return on investment isn't going to be there.
Yeah, there's very few Trey Palmer things that happen.
Right.
I mean,
Torre
Trey
or
Palmer,
you
get an upset Isaiah Garcia-Castaneda that taps out after not liking
4
his
games.
reps.
Yeah, those are few and far between. The Kenneth Walker the thirds and stuff like that. There's a lot of guys that you see up there paying. You're looking at them, man. You guys can't even dress up like it's Halloween in his football season.
Like O'Shawn, like the hype he got. I think people expected more, but I still think he was a great addition. I think he gave Nebraska something. He just did, for the amount of attention he received, it wasn't like.
Yeah. Well, and it's a little bit for to his defense, playing in the defense that was severely more complicated and doing more things than he ever had to do. Because you're playing in another conference. You just, where he played primarily on the outside and go kill a quarterback here. When you're not up and you have an inability to score points at times, you're not going to get a lot of chances. And so that affects your overall
They didn't
stats.
see a lot of this true drop back.
Right. Yeah.
A lot of quick game.
Well, I mean, then you're not winning the game. So you see a lot of drop back when you're winning games and up enough to make where you can pin your ears back. And so
Iowa was that first time it happened. I mean, they look great against Iowa.
Yeah. When you get up, I mean, it's a totally different ballgame.
You get up 24-0 against a team with statue quarterbacks. That's the game you dream of right there.
We're going to throw the break here and give Sean a chance to get some food in his gut.
Hey, it's for everybody.
Hey, man, I'm going to say, look, I'm going to get some too. Don't feel bad. We got a couple of questions for you about Bryce Turner, and I do want to ask about what's next for Matt Rule. Who do you think the next hire is? But we'll ask Sean Callahan those things. Jay Foreman as well. We've got special guests in and out the door here at Tanner's. We'll be down here till 6 o'clock. Stay tuned. More Old School from Tanner's. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Old School with DP and J. Download the mobile app and listen wherever you are on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
This is Lindsay Teal from the Nebraska golf team. If you're looking for a Christmas gift for the avid golfer in your life, don't give them something they can't even use until spring. Get them the gift of indoor golf from Double Eagle Golf. Grab a gift card for a stocking stuffer, or give the gift of a membership and let them golf all year long. Their space is also perfect for Christmas parties, corporate events, birthday parties, or anything else. See for yourself. Double Eagle Golf, just 5 minutes from downtown at the Kinetic Sports Complex on West O Street.
There's nothing quite like the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese Beef. The Mercado offers unique ingredients you can't find anywhere else, open every day from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. The full-service butcher shop and retail store is wonderful for meat lovers with their exclusive Certified Piedmontese Beef and assorted sausages, plus other quality meats, including pork, chicken, and a wide range of the freshest seafood. Plus, every Friday from 11 to 2, the Mercado serves up the best lunch in town on their Friday Feast menu. Stop in at the Mercado today at 84th and Havelock or visit their website at cpmercado.com to see current deals. Hopcat exists at the intersection of great beer and delicious food, complemented by music, art, community, and comfort. Home to a best-in-class beer experience served by craft beer experts, guests can expect a casual, inviting local gathering place with some of the best damn burgers and fries you'll find in Lincoln. Hopcat is your pregame headquarters for basketball and volleyball all season long. Hopcat is located at 6th and P in the Haymarket. To plan your next trip to Hopcat, visit www.hopcat.com. A good game with good friends. But isn't it time to up the score when it comes to the food? Wings and Rings is here for every football fan. Catch the game on one of their big screens or snag a tail great pack to go. They're cranking up the heat and throwing in mad flavor this season. Stop by your locally owned Wings and Rings on O Street, Meridian Park, or 48th and Old Cheney in Williamsburg Village, or grab some crave-worthy Wings and Rings to go. Make them your go-to destination to watch your team bring home the win. Wings and Rings. Game time just got better.
Rico here with HIS Auto Care at 70th and Van Dorn, letting you know HIS is a great place to bring your vehicle for service. With superior service bumper to bumper, we'll treat your vehicle like it's your mother's. It doesn't get any better than that. So call 402-488-8934 and HIS Auto will make you glad you did. 5% off, mention this ad, and for sure your mother will be proud you called. 402-488-8934, HIS Auto Care, 70th and Van Dorn. God bless you.
People first is more than a nice sentiment. At American Senior Benefits, it's the mission. If you're ready for a career where you can truly put your customers' needs ahead of everything else, this is for you. American Senior Benefits is one of the leading senior market insurance product distributors in the country, and they're looking for high-energy applicants with strong communication skills. Enjoy on-the-job training, a fun work environment, and unlimited income potential. Visit asbmidwest.com to learn more. American Senior Benefits.
Landmark Implement, your local John Deere dealer, invites you to attend our upcoming Parts and Service Expo events. It's the best time to buy parts all year. Take advantage of specials December 1st through the 13th with additional savings the day of your local expo. Find savings on oil and filters, gifts for under the tree, and most pre-ordered John Deere parts. Visit with our trained and certified technicians and sign up for our winter service specials. Don't miss out. It only comes around once a year at your local Landmark Implement. Visit landmarkimp.com for a complete schedule of our expo events and experience the Landmark difference.
Bagels and Joe is happy to introduce the new Joe Card. Get unlimited drip coffee from all 5 locations, including the new Seward location, for just $8.95 per month. Start your mornings off right with a breakfast sandwich and unlimited coffee from Bagels and Joe.
Mike Schaefer here for Trek CBD. It's football season, and that means you're tailgating with friends, or if you're like me, yelling at the TV during Vikings games. Trek CBD has a variety of products that help calm me down during the games, so don't scare my dog. But in the rare cases that I yell too much, there's CBD products for him, too, and all other pets. Whether you're looking for drinkable Delta 8 seltzers, hemp-derived Delta 9 syrups for your beverages, or anything else, Trek CBD has it all at 84th and Anderson. Trek CBD, CBD done right.
You finally finished your man cave in the basement. Brand new furniture, huge TV, and all of your collector's items. You're ready for football season. You are so excited until one bad rain and it is all ruined. Don't risk a flooded basement and countless dollars in damages when it can be avoided. Call John Henry's today for a free sump pump estimate for your home.
435-5555. John Henry's Plumbing, Heating and Air.
Back to Old School with DP and J on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back. We're live at Tanner's 30th and Yankee Hill. Be here till 6 o'clock. Got a Husker Hall of Famer. Got Sean Callahan. A special guest, 5 o'clock hour. We have a couple of special guests in the 5 o'clock hour. Again, all of this. Sean will be here till 5, breaking down the Huskers as only Sean can. I'm always curious, Sean. How do you maintain your sanity
I don't.
How do you? I mean, it is just a zoo of chaos and information.
I've been through a lot of these changes. I mean, I go back to like the night when Frank Solge was. I'm not done yet. The night when Frank Solge was fired, and just how much Nebraska football changed forever that night, and just how wild it's been. During just this time for a lot of years in a row, and but now when you add the transfer portal, a guy that we don't know at all, Matt Rule, and hires that we're not familiar with, recruiting. There's a lot. I mean, it's you have to get up in the morning in like my job or Sipple's job or anyone doing this day to day, not knowing what to expect. Like yesterday, Bryce Turner, who I don't care how much you know about Nebraska athletics. You had no idea who this guy was.
Nothing.
He wasn't even being recruited by Nebraska. Then he gets a phone call and they offered him and he commits.
Like I heard he was verbally committed to somebody else, and then we get the phone call.
He had one offer, and that was Prairie View A&M, right?
Yeah, he had some. Grambling, but I don't know if
Prairie View A&M. I know that for a fact. Gabe Northern's brother offered.
Did the historically black colleges do they give full rides or is it
depends on the school and the player?
Depends on the player.
School and the player.
It's definitely down there year to year, though.
I mean, the money's. They don't have the money just to have 85 guys or whatever.
Oh no. That is not in play. That is not in play. As a matter of fact, it's the money, the tracking of money and chasing of money at HBCUs is priority one and business one.
They intertwine their athletics and the regular student.
I remember
budget.
Nebraska played Bethune-Cookman in that football game, and they had to basically play the game in the Nebraska scheduled it late because they were broke. Like they needed the money.
Yeah.
And they came in here and just took a beating in October just to give Nebraska a game to replace Akron, and
that's a ton of the business, and that's why the change in business and how with what Dion brought to the table was a different way to do business, and then the same accountability is the problem. I'll ask you about young Mr. Turner, because even finding out that this deal is in play, right, and then trying to track down information, what's the easiest way for you to get information on that young man?
Well, track guy and a football guy. So there's two sites, obviously Huddle, Twitter. You go to Twitter first, you find their Huddle. And then for track, there's a great website. I think it's one of the best websites out there called athletic.net. Mm-hmm. And if you're a track runner or a cross country runner,
they go about it different.
They have a page.
Yeah, it's different
for everybody.
Yeah.
No matter what grade you are. So if you start, like my niece is she qualified for state track and cross country at Omaha South High School. She's a sophomore. I can look her up, find all of her times, all of her meets. It's an outstanding website, and it's free.
Yeah.
So you can go on athletic.net. You find Bryce Turner's page. It will tell you every meet he's run, the place he's gotten. You can click on the meet, see what the other times where he went against. You can figure out that his time that won Class 4A Texas was second all class Texas in the 100. Mm-hmm. He's 6'2", he's 180, and he runs a 10.27 or 10.25.
Right.
And
he plays football. He doesn't play football like a track guy.
No, and he's a 4'8". I mean, Bay City. I keep wanting to say is Bay Shore from Saved by the Bell. Yeah, they're Bayside. They're Bayside.
Bay Shore is who you're thinking of. That's hilarious.
But they're about you're familiar with that area. Yeah. I mean,
it's about 50 miles.
Do you consider it Houston, or is it
it's Houston?
It's like
it's a super suburb
of Houston. Okay, so it's not like out in the country.
Galveston.
It's
no.
Oil families.
Oil families, but it's on the way to Galveston. I mean, he's playing big boy football, but when you watch his tape, he plays. He doesn't. A track guy that's out there playing football. I know, but he doesn't play it. He plays it like a football player.
Break that down, Jay.
And the track guy that usually is playing football is injury prone. Number one, that's number one. Number two, he doesn't have any lateral quickness because
they run outside.
They run outside, and then with their receiver, it's primarily 9 routes and deep post routes. The thing about him, though, what he's done, and if you look at his Huddle, and it's all over, what you guys obviously tweeted out. He's played running back. He's played tight end. He's played a little bit of quarterback on a quarterback sweep. He's ran reverses. He's run smoke screens. He's run crossing routes. He's ran, obviously, intermediate and stop routes. He's run 9 routes. And the best thing about him, he's a hands catcher. So the difference between that, a lot of receivers, when you're fast like that, are body catchers because you're generally 2 or 3 steps ahead. There's a couple times he must have been playing against some good competition. He was a 50-50 ball, and he rose up and caught it. And so right there, I'm assuming that Matt Rule, one of the things that he likes to do is watch a lot more tape and let his eyes be the deciding factor. Those are probably the things that jumped out on tape to him that he can work with, and you can see the potential because he has a comparables, obviously, from the time that he was in Baylor to what this young man possibly could be.
Another X factor in his recruiting was Brenton Emanuel, the sprinters coach for Nebraska. So when they got here, Campbell, the recruiter for Rule, reached out to the track department and like, who are guys that you're recruiting with elite speed that are also football players? And so immediately they offered Jalen Lloyd, Omaha Central.
Right.
They offered, Turner, guys like that fit that, type of profile of what they're looking for. So that is like part of his formula to find these analytic guys, speed guys. And when you go back and like look at all the Twitter follows that were made night one, almost all of them were elite track guys, which I found really, really interesting. On that Saturday night, when the Rule stuff kind of started to break, we knew of like one guy coming with him. And, and that was all of his new follows happened to be track type guys.
Right. Any word on how you think they use him? Because there's talk of his, as Jay said, he's multi-talented, multi-skilled. How do you think they plan on using the young man?
So his high school coach I talked to yesterday, and he said receiver right now, but then Nebraska asked, could he play DB? And they go, well, maybe, and it'd be corner, not safety. So probably a receiver, potentially a corner, maybe. But I would say receiver is where the chip is right now.
That's not bad. That's not a bad way. Your thoughts on? I mean, and several of the texters are asking on Coach Raiola's reassignment back into this thing, right?
I think it's a surprise, only in the sense that the line hasn't been very good. But the question is that Raiola's fault? Because when he got here, he didn't get a chance to recruit. Like the recruiting was already done. Hunter Anthony was added, and that was Eric Chenander taking that without Raiola even knowing. And then they added Kevin Williams as a local guy, and that there was a relationship there with Mickey Joseph and Kevin Williams Sr. that goes back to when they were in college together at Nebraska. So they added him as a one-year guy, but Kevin might get 2 years now out of it. But Raiola never got a chance to get anybody. And what we've learned about the portal is if you're a dude on the O-line of the portal, I mean, Oluwatimi, I talked to him. He got inducted in the Outland Trophy semifinalists, and I hosted that event in Omaha. He told me on the presentation that night that he had 90 teams reach out to him in the portal. And I mean, so if you're that kind of lineman in the portal, that's the kind of attention you're going to get, as far as people wanting you. So it's very, very dangerous to think that you can build a line that's quality through the portal, because the quality guys, like look at Steen from Vanderbilt. Where's he at? Alabama. Like that was the other really good portal dude that went in, and so Nebraska's not going to get those guys. There's a guy from the University of Rhode Island. They offered him, but everybody's offered this guy already. So that it's tough. And with Raiola, you think about Prohaska, he got hurt again. Nuri Dwelly got suspended. That's probably their next best guy. So he was out without their two best guys this year. I mean, if you're just trying to look at this objectively and what he had to manage himself through this year, I thought Ethan Piper played all right as he came in late. Ben Hart finished strong. He started bad, but he had a better finish. And is Corcoran really a tackle? I don't think so. I think he should be probably playing inside at guard, but they had to play him at tackle because of the line.
And he played better at guard. And Hickson was their best lineman. So you got to give Raiola credit for that. I think you're probably right where it's subjective, and I think the mentality too. See, a lot of times people think that like when you're on a bad team that all the coaches are bad, but I think the mentality in Donovan being younger coach and in being told he's never been able to recruit or even really develop the guys, and he's done it all on the whim. And even though they're much maligned, there was improvement and there was adjustment. You've seen even when they had a couple really bad games, what was it, Purdue and Rutgers, they put together 3 solid games. And obviously, Michigan was Michigan. And a couple other games that, I think with the Wisconsin game was a little bit of a step back, but then they bounced back against Iowa and did pretty well. So if you're looking at it from both sides, you saw some positives as well. Now, the question I'm going to ask you is, we know the portal's hard to get those top guys that can really make a significant difference, because it's not just one guy. You might need, if in the world of worlds, you would need two to kind of reshape the idea and identity of the offensive line, like, overnight. Would that most likely not come into Nebraska? So how does Nebraska field a better offensive line next year? Is it continuing to reshape and refocus some of these guys? Because I'm assuming this new weight staff is going to trim these guys down. I'm assuming and hoping trim these guys down. So then you put a lot of trust into him and that staff to get these guys in better physical shape, quicker, faster, stronger, more stamina, then really evaluate them after that. Then obviously trying to get some stuff out of the portal.
Yeah, I think if you can get one or two from the portal, but once again, you got to get kind of lucky on the O-line. I mean, you got to find a guy that wants to be here, that has a tie to Nebraska or something. And you can't just guarantee a guy a job either.
Right, yeah. And you never know what a new weight staff. I would even say Coach Raiola is a new coach, because it's I'm assuming that the identity of Coach Raiola and I guess Satterfield right now, whoever the OC is going to be a better match than with Whipple. Because with Whipple, it was Whipple, and then nobody else knew what was going on.
That wasn't a very healthy relationship, I would say, with Raiola and Whipple. Like, I think the way Whipple kind of called games and did things, it didn't really help an offensive line that much to put Casey Thompson in 5-step drop in situations that just weren't very
conducive to success.
And say what you want about Scott Frost, I think he would have probably had a better plan in offense that would have maybe protected some of this team's deficiencies. They would have probably been able to run the ball a little better, where Whipple's running game was much more predictable. The quarterback wasn't involved, and Frost was better at junking it up, where you could throw some kind of just goofball look that would get you yards though.
Right.
And Whipple was so pro that Nebraska didn't have the players to do what he wanted to do.
All of what you just said just made me depressed all over again.
So with that being said, the most important thing is the offensive line. What do you think they're doing? Do you think part of the process of, I guess, Matt Rule, I'm assuming, talking to Coach Raiola and say, okay, what can you do with 80% of the guys or 60% of the guys that were in that room last year? I mean, the guys that played. Can you get Lutovsky better? Can he get quicker? What do you think he needs to do? Because the weight coach comes into there as well. Because if I'm an offensive line coach and I'm saying, well, he needs to be 295 and he's been 315, 320, I think he can improve this way. That's part of how you interview for the job. Do you think it's more along that lines? Because, like I said, you can go in the portal and get some guys. Doesn't mean necessarily going to start. So your best bet is to kind of rehab and reshape the guys that you have, right?
No doubt. I mean, I think Prohaska, Noelle, Corcoran, Benhart, and then who am I missing on the interior? Piper. I mean, I think you
might be at center.
That's probably your five. Noelle, Corcoran at guards, Benhart, Prohaska, Piper at the center, right?
If they had to start right now.
If you were just saying, let's put it up on the grease board, this is our projected starting line.
And
maybe Williams.
You happy with it?
Maybe Williams.
And you happy with it?
It's older. It's a veteran group.
They
would have to be. They would all, besides Cochran, would have to get in shape.
And
they are severely out of shape.
I don't understand with what they were supposed to be: elite strength and conditioning, elite nutrition. How do you get to that point? I don't understand that.
That's okay. We're gonna break. We're gonna break there
as we're eating.
We're gonna break there. Yeah, no.
We're supposed to be like this.
No,
we're over 40.
No. We're not even talking about us. In my head, all of our brains hurt just from that statement that was just made. We'll toward the break. We'll come back. Final segment with Sean Callahan coming up.
Watch Old School live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. Old School with DP and J on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Gaina Trucking is hiring CDL Class A and B drivers. Gaina Trucking guarantees a 40-hour work week year-round, and their strong team culture makes it not a job, but a career. Gaina Trucking offers health, vision, and dental insurance, 401k with company match, an employee assistance program, and other bonus programs. Build a better career today with great team culture at Gaina Trucking. Learn more and apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
Look at your car. It's filthy and probably has a few dings and nicks all over it. Don't be that guy. Get it upgraded and repaired at Renew Your Auto. At Renew Your Auto, they offer tons of services: ceramic coating, window tinting, paintless dent repair, washes and details, bed liners, body shop, and more. Where can you go to get services like that all in one place? Schedule your appointment today at RenewYourAuto.com. See what Renew can do for you. There's nothing quite like the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese beef. The Mercado offers unique ingredients you can't find anywhere else, open every day from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. The full-service butcher shop and retail store is wonderful for meat lovers with their exclusive certified Piedmontese beef and assorted sausages, plus other quality meats, including pork, chicken, and a wide range of the freshest seafood. Plus, every Friday from 11 to 2, the Mercado serves up the best lunch in town on their Friday Feast menu. Stop in at the Mercado today at 84th and Havelock or visit their website at cpmercado.com to see current deals.
John Henry's Plumbing, heating and air.
When it comes to your home or business, we know you have options, and that's why John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning gives you just that. Options. We have plumbing, heating, and cooling memberships to serve all of your residential and commercial needs. We want to ensure you, your family, and your business are safe. Visit our website, jhlincoln.com, to find out more or call us at
435-5555. John Henry's Plumbing, heating and air.
Bagels and Joe is happy to introduce the new Joe card. Get unlimited drip coffee from all 5 locations, including the new Seward location, for just $8.95 per month. Start your mornings off right with a breakfast sandwich and unlimited coffee from Bagels and Joe. Start your Sundays off right with Jeff and Nicole Essink on Fitness Fanatics. Jeff and Nicole discuss health and wellness, how to achieve fitness goals, and more through the life of gym owners and gym goers. It's Fitness Fanatics from 9 to 11 a.m. on Sundays on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
There's only one place this holiday season to shop for the sports fan in your life and get cash back for slightly used sports items you don't need anymore. Play It Again Sports. Check out their selection of new and used items, including home fitness equipment like treadmills, exercise bikes, and ellipticals. And get your lift with free weights, benches, and racks to add to your home gym. And don't forget, if you have anything slightly used to trade in, they'll give you instant cash. Holiday shopping starts and ends at Play It Again Sports at 48th and Vine.
Nebraska fans, Brokers Insurance Agency in Lincoln is a proud donor of Nebraska Athletics. Brokers Insurance Agency is located at 33rd and 8th Streets in the heart of Lincoln. At Brokers, they can help you with all your insurance needs. Let them worry about your insurance so you have more time to enjoy the college football season. Call one of their licensed agents today at 402-420-5353 or visit their website at brokersinsurancene.com. Go Big Red.
The captain, Vershawn Jackson.
All I'm simply saying is I hope that this was the best hire because we need the best hire here. And only time will tell if this was the best hire. But you gave him $9 million.
But that's the price of doing business if you're going to be in Nebraska. If you go out and say
9?
Yeah.
Did you think it was going to take 9?
I don't worry about the money because Nebraska told me not to, and when they throw away 7.5 for Scott Frost with 2 weeks left.
Oh, it doesn't matter.
I don't care. Yeah, no, they're swimming in money. I don't care what they're doing.
That's crazy.
Back to old school with DP and J on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Old school, 93.7 The Ticket, ticketfm.com. Sean Callahan has been taking us through the hour, and there's just so many questions from the text
We need
line
it for 2 hours.
Well, you know,
I gotta get my daughter across the street at her dance. She's
yeah, you know,
5:15.
look, Sean giving us an hour is like the average person.
Especially right
giving
now,
us a
man.
week.
You're going to be busy all the way through New Year's. You're going to be working on New Year's Eve.
Probably.
Somebody's going to commit New Year's Eve. Watch.
Well, there's 2 mile marker dates. December 21st is the high school JUCO signing day.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
The other day
Merry
to
Christmas.
mark down is January 23rd.
And what's that?
That's the first day of classes at UNL.
So then you'll really know who's here.
So that's the transfer day. So the portal window is open 45 days. we're on day 3.
Right.
It's like 1,000 players in. We're on day 3, but they have until the 23rd to get here for class. The calendar's later now than it used to be. I mean,
yeah,
it used to be we would start classes, Jay, back in like the 9th or 16th.
Oh, it'd be when I played, it was always like the 3rd or 4th.
Because if you remember, like Martin Luther King Day, you always got that day off at UNL. Well, now like they start after Martin Luther King Day.
Yeah.
So like they go in like the 23rd. That's their first day.
It's going to be a crazy couple of weeks, and I think crazier than folks know. Question from the text line: any word on the wide receiver coach situation?
You know, we talked earlier, and Joe Daly is a name that makes some sense. I'm not saying it's Joe Daly, but if you're going off kind of all these hires, how they've been made, they've been Carolina Panther, Temple, Baylor guys. Well, Joe Daly's a Carolina Panther guy that happened to play at Nebraska, just like Jake Peets, Carolina Panther guy that happened to play at Nebraska. Now, Jake was he was a backup long. Jake's coaching story is really amazing how he has gotten to where he's at. I mean,
he's done everything.
He was a student volunteer assistant that basically learned how to long snap, and he made himself the backup long snapper for Bill Callahan, but he wanted to be closer to the action to learn the game. And I remember going to the Senior Bowl to cover it in 2008, and there was Jake Peets, walking around, shaking hands, and, people getting to know. I mean, I'll never forget that 2008 Senior Bowl trip. I went out there to cover, and Lane Kiffin was the coach of one of the teams. But that was the trip where Monty Kiffin told me the story about how he linked Bo Pelini from Pete Carroll to Solich. That's how Pelini was hired as the coach then. But you had the huddle guys were on that trip, and huddle literally had just started. And there were these 3 or 4 young guys from Lincoln walking around, their huddle shirts and backpacks on. Nobody knew who they are. Now that's a $1 billion company in Lincoln here. But yeah, that scene, just back to Jake Peets. I mean, his story, it's really a remarkable story how he's been able to climb the ranks with just hard work.
Amazing. How about that? Just hard work. Sean, thank you once again. I mean, the hour always flies because we have 38 questions to ask you, and we have to rapid fire them suckers to get you through. But thank you for
it's been great. I love coming out to Tanner's with you guys, and hopefully we're doing the shows out here again next football season.
I think we'll be around. That's Sean Callahan. We'll toward the break, come back, second hour of Old School coming up. We'll have a special guest. I think he's a flamethrower. Little J. Giles reference. We'll be right back here to Tanner's 30th in Yankee Hill. Will be there at 6 o'clock.
You're listening to Old School with DP and J. Download the mobile app and listen wherever you are on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Are you looking for some holiday fun right in the heart of downtown Lincoln? Bring your friends and family to Lincoln's largest drive-through Christmas lights experience. This show features countless high-quality lights in vibrant colors, holiday props, and favorite characters of the season, all synchronized to music to enjoy in your car. Start a new holiday tradition this year and experience the magic of Nebraska Christmas Light Show at Haymarket Park from November 26th to January 3rd, 5 p.m. to midnight. Purchase tickets today at NebraskaChristmasLightShow.com.
The most innovative ag technology that exists today on display in one place at the Nebraska Ag Expo. Autonomous and robotic equipment, precision ag, commodity marketing gurus, and more. All in the brand new Innovation Hub at the Nebraska Ag Expo. Come check it out December 6th, 7th, and 8th at the Lancaster Event Center in Lincoln. Register online at NebraskaAgExpo.com to get your tickets in advance and save $5. The Nebraska Ag Expo is sponsored by Farm Credit Services of America and Ag Direct.
Working at Continental in Lincoln isn't a job, it's a career. And right now they've raised wages again and they're hiring for production operators at $24.11 per hour, which grows to $28.27 per hour within 3 years. Skilled trade positions now start at $32.76 per hour with opportunities to make more based on certifications. Continental also has salary jobs available and great benefits, plus medical and prescription costs at very low premiums. Dental, vision, and life insurance are offered at no premium cost to the associates with increased bonuses and vacation for new hires. To learn more or to apply, go to continental-jobs.com with keyword Lincoln. Come work at Continental today.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Underground, who has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know the baddest dudes in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built on hard work, authentic people, and pedigree of success. Bauer, a family-friendly company who reminds you, go Big Red!
Water heater gone? Call Bryant. The price you're quoted is the price you'll pay. And in most cases, same-day replacement. Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing. 467-1111.
John Henry's Plumbing, Heating and Air.
When it comes to your home or business, we know you have options, and that's why John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning gives you just that. Options. We have plumbing, heating, and cooling memberships to serve all of your residential and commercial needs. We want to ensure you, your family, and your business are safe. Visit our website, jhlincoln.com, to find out more or call us at
435-5555. John Henry's Plumbing, Heating and Air.
A good game with good friends. But isn't it time to up the score when it comes to the food? Wings and Rings is here for every football fan. Catch the game on one of their big screens or snag a tail great pack to go. They're cranking up the heat and throwing in mad flavor this season. Stop by your locally owned Wings and Rings on O Street, Meridian Park, or 48th and Old Cheney in Williamsburg Village, or grab some crave-worthy Wings and Rings to go. Make them your go-to destination to watch your team bring home the win. Wings and Rings. Game time just got better.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by Security First Bank, a relationship you can count on.
Sunny skies but cooler temps for our Wednesday with an afternoon high of 41. Winds out of the north-northeast at around 10. Increasing cloud cover tonight with a low of 25. We'll see a chance of a wintry mix by late tomorrow morning into tomorrow afternoon with a high of around 39. That's a check of your forecast. I'm meteorologist Tim Wright for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet. KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. This is Old School, sponsored by the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. Broadcasting veteran Derek Pearson.
When you find something that moves them, that makes them smile, celebrate it. That's your task. That's your superpower.
Nebraska Football Hall of Famer Jay Foreman.
Rifles a pass. It was tipped. It's picked off by Foreman. He's at the 15, 10, 5. He'll score!
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Foreman Old School out here at Tanner's, out here off of Pine Lake. I don't know the address. Wings, beer, friendly faces in here. Old School is brought to you by the Mercado, certified Piedmontese and special ingredients, located at 84th and Havelock. Any type of meat, any type of cut. We got a standing room only, blessed by Jabba Chamberlain. About to pop in on the ones and twos. We got everybody else coming in here interrupting our thing. Jabba, we're going to ask you, man. We're going to put you right on the spot, man. Aaron Judge getting $40 million annually. How much of a calculate? How much is he really worth that much? Number one. Number two.
I mean, we're looking at it right now.
Right.
He's 9 years, 360.
Yeah. That's $40 million, right? $40 million.
40 a year.
$40 million. Is he in your opinion, is a slugger worth that much? I'm a firm believer pitching always beats sluggers in the playoffs.
And you're 100% right.
Right.
And I think too, to the same aspect. What is he's 31 years old.
Right.
He'll be 31.
Yeah.
And we know Father Time beats us all.
Yeah, it's undefeated.
It never loses.
Yeah.
Is he going to be that person when he's 40? Look at Albert Pujols.
Right.
Look at when he signed his 10-year deal. Look at what happened.
If you were the Yankees, would you have went 5 years, 200 or something like that?
It was for me, like, I honestly thought, I'm like, if I'd look at the Carlos Correa deal when he was with the Twins, and Rocco Baldelli talked about it today.
Right.
And it's like he was like, I'm gonna take a short term to try to get a long term.
Right.
But at the same time, I can still make an AAV of 25 to 30 million.
Right.
And then still have the opportunity. Now, if I ball out, I go. You look at Cody Bellinger today, signed with the Cubs 1 year, and literally it was said, he goes, I need to reestablish myself.
Right.
He was a 2019 MVP.
Right.
But he was like, I'm going to sign a 1 year deal because now I go ball out.
The market's even higher.
And boom, there you go.
Right.
There
But do you think it became a little bit makes me feel like the Yankees had to because
that's not even a question.
But then it's also the Yankees' fault because as we know, if you're ahead of the game a year prior or even offer him a long-term deal, then when he had a couple years ago a little bit of a down year, maybe you sign him then, you got him locked and loaded, you let him go out there and prove it. Generally, that's when you're going to have the best year. So even though the Yankees might have egg on their face, it's the egg that they kind of smashed in their face, right? In their own face?
I think a little bit.
Yeah, because you kind of played you played the long game, and
are you going to play the short game?
Right.
I look at contracts too in that aspect. Like Jacoby Ellsbury,
right?
He didn't play the last 3 years and makes $27 million.
Right.
Didn't even play a game.
Right. Right. It's always a risk, but what I'm asking you is, ever since Aaron Judge stepped on the scene, he could hit homers. Right?
Well, I mean,
right? I mean,
he literally won the home run derby when he was in college.
Right. He literally could hit homers since the day that he was born. But when he's got it in New York, he could hit homers. So I'm saying that for the Yankees, where I think they made a mistake is, this man can hit homers. And once you kind of get closer to the end of the contract and you got to forecast the market to the highest end, wouldn't it have been better and easier to sign him 2 years ago to a pretty good contract, maybe to keep him. Now you're not sitting here with 9 years when he's 40. Albert Pujols was on a tear that he might have even been close to breaking Barry Bonds' record, but when his feet went out, it changed the way that he could do it, and then he couldn't play every day at X, Y, and Z. So with Aaron Judge, that has a little bit of an injury history, right?
I mean, his first three, so his 6 years, 3 of them he was on the DL.
Right. So then as Cashman.
Oh, that's another
right.
Boy. Don't get me started on him.
Well, we won't get you started.
Hold on. Don't get me started. Don't get me started.
Oh, I'm just saying, man. I'm just saying.
Dealing with the front office is a different story.
Right. They make sure that they're taken care of. Let me ask you about this. Let me ask you about the Astros, who I'm a fan of, and the Twins. Astros for obvious reasons, and the Orioles. But let me ask you about Verlander.
Oh,
right. Let me ask you this.
One of my dudes.
Right. So for this, even if you're the Yankees, because I'm a big believer, pitching will override home run hitting in the playoffs. That's just my opinion. I don't know much about baseball, but every time I turn on and the pitcher is on, there's not too many hitters out there that can hit. Verlander, even though he's older, but I think even when he was out that year, it actually helped him heal up. Or 2, my bad, excuse me. Him going to the Mets, essentially looking, the Yankees, Cashman, you need more pitching. Why didn't they do that? Is it because they boo their own, or because they were late to the party, so focused on Judge, and now you're missing the thing that can really get you through the playoffs?
It's one of those things where I know not only Justin, but I also know his wife.
Right.
And in that aspect, I think there's something that in his realm, and I can't be in his mind.
Right.
But at the same time, like, he's seen what he's done. He's one of those dudes where we've played with those people.
Right.
Where it's like, I want to prove it at the highest level. And not saying because we're already there.
Yeah.
But the highest level in the place you're at.
Right. Something a little different, more inspiring. Maybe this is the most poisonous potentially market. And he's going to be in the pressure cooker, and it's later in his career. Maybe that's what he needs to kind of give him that flame in the offseason, And so always when I see that, I know there's a big, Yankees and Mets, and I know where it's split. It's just like the Yankees. I know if I'm sitting there and I'm looking like Justin Verlander, he's just that close, and we didn't try to, would he had came and been there, and did we really make an effort? I just wonder about that as a Yankee alum.
Yes, sir.
And for me thinking about pitching, the regular season is great, right? I get it, hit home runs and all that. But as you get closer towards the end of the season, you start to see those arms taking over. And if you can't hit that baseball, you ain't scoring because you're not winning like you're in like third grade little league and getting 8 errors and scoring 10 runs. So the pitching is what I look for is so important. And for him to be in such close proximity, if I'm in that front office, I'm looking at Brian Cashman like, I know you got paid. You got paid because you're supposed to make some good decisions, right?
4-year deal.
Now, Aaron Judge was great because I think you had to up the ante because supposedly it was a San Fran deal. But let's not forget who we are. We need some pitching.
Right.
We need to be able to have.
And obviously they lost Jacob deGrom.
Right.
And I think deGrom in the aspect of, like, Ver missed 2 years.
Right.
I pitched with him, sat next to him, showered with him, did all the other things. Like, he's a monster.
Right.
He's a monster. But at the same time, Jacob deGrom is the same monster.
Dude, right.
Is the same dude. Like, we can talk about it on your shows. Like, when you're a dude, you're a dude.
Yeah.
That's just what it is.
Yeah. But you know who else is a dude? My man that just walked in here with a Snuggie. You know what? That's the dude right there. I don't mean to cut you off. My man right there is a dude.
Right?
He's
not scared.
Right. And he has no worries right now, and you can't tell him. Look, and he looking good too. He's got his Snuggie coming out like when Mike Tyson used to come out just with his towel on back in the day with the black shoes, man.
Hey, we biting ears though?
No, not yet. Not yet.
Okay.
Let me ask you about this, man, on another subject about the football program. Obviously, Nebraska alum, obviously always a Cornhusker. Let me ask you, what's your thoughts on rule? I feel like this is the new Nebraska. This is the way it's going to be. Now, whether it works out or not, time will tell, but this is it. It's totally different. This is not what we're used to. What is your first impressions of Rule? One, the energy that he's brought. He's been at every household in Lincoln and every high school in Lincoln where coaches have said he hadn't been there. Nobody's been there
since
for
2012.
Right. He's been way out west, He's offered guys, unique type of guys. He's actually, looking at guys you can develop. What's your first initial feeling on Matt Rule?
Well, it was initially you see what it is.
Right.
And you take it at the surface. But then I got the opportunity to interview him as well.
Yeah.
And I got the opportunity to talk to him.
Right.
And see what he wants to do.
Right.
And the one thing that I took away from it was the authenticity of who he is. And the things that he said. And it's like, it ain't gonna be next year.
Right.
But he was so real about the aspect of, like, he set a brand,
right,
not a culture.
Right.
And we've played at the highest level.
Right.
He wants to create a different brand.
Right.
And I think that is so different.
Right.
Because everybody wants a culture. No, I'm going to create a brand of what we do.
Right.
And I think I had the opportunity to interview him with Mike Golick.
Right.
Who's been at every level as well.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And I got the opportunity to talk to him. He's like, he's right. He's right for where you guys need to be.
Right.
Because he goes, Nebraska football is special. It's special.
Right.
And you understand that. Like, you are somebody that was such an important key, but you knew how special it was.
Right.
It meant more than winning.
Right, yeah.
And I think that's where
he's trying to go.
Comes in that same place, because you knew how much that meant.
Right.
even though we were going to win.
Right. Yeah.
And you knew that every day you stepped on the field. Like you were a monster.
Right. What do you think about Matt Rule, and where do you think he, year one? Well, let me ask you a different way. In your experience in professional baseball, have you ever been a part of an off season where you're like, we know this is a rebuilding year? And what's that like? I know what it was like when I was in Houston. I hated it, but I could deal with it as long as you had a winner's mentality and we're trying to do some winner things. Did you ever experience that when you played professional baseball? You're like, man, we got rid of Verlander. We got rid of, Cabrera. It's just say that happened. You just got rid of all your good. And then you're just like, okay, well, now we got farm guys, double and AAA guys that, might be able to hit a 94-mile-an-hour fastball, but can't even touch a changeup. But we're giving them experience. Have you ever experienced that?
I'm so fortunate in my career where I've never had to experience that because I went to different teams. I will say, in what you said, 2008 was a hard year for us because we were closing old Yankee Stadium, opening new Yankee Stadium, and we didn't make the playoffs.
Right.
What did we do in 2009?
Right.
We won the World Series.
Right.
So it's just I think that aspect of it where I was in the playoffs every year.
Right.
So I always had the opportunity.
Right.
And I never had a rebuilding. But I think from 08 to 09, like that was just the bad taste in our mouth.
Motivated. But you'd already been there. See, so you already kind of had that taste of that good wine, and then you had the cheap wine. You're like, I don't want that ever again. The headaches are different on that box wine.
We had that Franzia.
Yeah,
you know what I'm
or
saying?
no, you had that Mad Dog or Cisco for when we were in college, man. This is old school Jay Foreman, Jabba Chamberlain out here at Tanner's 30th and Yankee Hill. We're going to break, and we'll be back to pick his brain some more on all things sports and a little bit of baseball.
Watch Old School live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. Old School with DP and J on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Look at your car. It's filthy and probably has a few dings and nicks all over it. Don't be that guy. Get it upgraded and repaired at Renew Your Auto. At Renew Your Auto, they offer tons of services: ceramic coating, window tinting, paintless dent repair, washes and details, bed liners, body shop, and more. Where can you go to get services like that all in one place? Schedule your appointment today at renewyourauto.com. See what Renew can do for you.
Water heater gone? Call Bryant. The price you're quoted is the price you'll pay. And in most cases, same-day replacement. Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing. 467-1111.
Are you looking for some holiday fun right in the heart of downtown Lincoln? Bring your friends and family to Lincoln's largest drive-through Christmas lights experience. This show features countless high-quality lights in vibrant colors, holiday props, and favorite characters of the season, all synchronized to music to enjoy in your car. Start a new holiday tradition this year and experience the magic of Nebraska Christmas Light Show at Haymarket Park from November 26th to January 3rd, 5 p.m. to midnight. Purchase tickets today at NebraskaChristmasLightShow.com.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Underground, who has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know the baddest dudes in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built on hard work, authentic people, and pedigree of success. Bauer, a family-friendly company who reminds you, go Big Red!
Working at Continental in Lincoln isn't a job, it's a career. And right now they've raised wages again and they're hiring for production operators at $24.11 per hour, which grows to $28.27 per hour within 3 years. Skilled trade positions now start at $32.76 per hour with opportunities to make more based on certifications. Continental also has salary jobs available and great benefits, plus medical and prescription costs at very low premiums. Dental, vision, and life insurance are offered at no premium cost to the associates, with increased bonuses and vacation for new hires. hires. To learn more or to apply, go to continental-jobs.com with keyword Lincoln. Come work at Continental today.
Wall to Wall Wine and Spirits is now open in Lincoln. Shop our expansive collection of wine, beer, spirits, and cigars at 5040 North 27th Street. From top shelf liquor to crowd favorite beer, Wall to Wall Wine and Spirits has a beverage for every taste and every budget. Plus, join our loyalty program to earn rewards and save on future purchases. Shop Wall to Wall Wine and Spirits at 5040 North 27th Street in Lincoln. That's 5040 North 27th Street.
Sandhills Global is hiring. Check out sandhills.jobs for more information. Sandhills is looking to fill hundreds of new openings in sales, traveling support, software development, web design, and more. Sandhills has a professional culture and is fast-paced with a focus on growth, innovation, and leading-edge technologies. Career and internship opportunities are available at our global headquarters in Lincoln, Nebraska. Apply today at sandhills.jobs.
Sartor Heyman Jewelers says let it snow because a white New Year's Eve could mean free jewelry. Shop from December 1st to December 24th, and if it snows 3 inches or more on New Year's Eve, your purchase is free. Holiday savings throughout the store. 36 months interest-free financing with approved credit. Shop from December 1st to December 24th, and if it snows 3 inches or more on New Year's Eve, your purchase is free. Sartor Heyman Jewelers, a Nebraska tradition since 1905.
At Venue Catering and Events, we offer 2 of the most historic ballrooms in Lincoln. The Jasmine Room, located in the historic Grand Manse in the heart of downtown, featuring a beautiful built-in antique bar, spacious patio, and soaring skylit ceilings. The Scottish Rite Ballroom, located just 2 blocks from the state's capital, boasts intricate hand-carved columns, rich dark wood floors, and lavish chandeliers. The perfect venues to host your wedding, corporate event, or much more. For availability and more information, call us at 402-603-6483.
2022 flew by fast, and while you celebrate the upcoming holidays, Mullen Motors is looking ahead to 2023 and trying to open up space on their lot. Stop by Mullen Motors for their year-end sale and select from some of the best options of used vehicles in Lincoln at the best prices of the year. Don't end the year in your aging vehicle. Search Mullen Motors lot today for their year-end sale, just north of 48th and Lake.
No taglines, just quality vehicles. Mullen Motors.
Start your Sundays off right with Jeff and Nicole Essink on Fitness Fanatics. Jeff and Nicole discuss health and wellness, how to achieve fitness goals, and more through the life of gym owners and gym goers. It's Fitness Fanatics from 9 to 11 a.m. on Sundays on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Hey, it's Nicklin Hames from Nebraska Volleyball. I hate wasting time in practice, and I want to help you stop wasting your time when you're looking for an electrician. High Electric has been serving the area for over 30 years for both residential and commercial properties. They are experts in everything like remodeling, new additions, hot tub installation, and more. And they take jobs from Beatrice to Omaha and all towns, big or small, in between. Call them today at 402-466-6606 or learn more at high-electric.com.
Back to Old School with DP and J.
In the break, Robert Chamberlain, Jay Foreman here at Tanner's. 30th and Yankee Hill will be here for another half hour or so. Folks are in here. The burgers are on fire. Half-pound burgers tonight, $9.99.
Do a $10 burger.
$10 burger.
Yeah, you can't beat that, man. Beef and everything's going up.
Real deal, man.
Yeah.
Jay Foreman, let them know about the Mercado.
84th and Havelock, certified Piedmontese and special ingredients in butcher shop. I will tell you, they have every kind of type of meat, every type of cut, seafood, pasta, street tacos for yourself or your family.
Hey, a couple weeks ago, you said you were going. How was it?
It's always good.
Yeah, the tomahawk.
The tomahawk, man.
That's
a lot of pressure, though. It's a lot of pressure.
That yet, man.
It's a lot of pressure. It's one thing to say I'm going to go buy a tomahawk and cook it versus going somewhere and pay an enormous amount of money and do it. But once you buy that tomahawk and you're in, you commit to it, and then it's a lot of pressure to cook it because that's not the type of meat that you want to either lose your attention span and mess it up. And the worst part about it is, you see guys that are these chefs or whatever on Instagram or whatever, and it always comes out to perfection. So that's your standard.
Right.
So, before I even thought about doing it, before I started to get the cast iron and season and throw it back on the grill, I literally watched Instagram,
TikTok.
TikTok.
You went through the full
and
range.
Googled, and
Right.
then I
Full
just
gamut.
and then I just
Right.
came to like a conclusion. And so, but they got tomahawks there. They got everything that you want, man. They got
Even prepared meals. So if you
prepared
don't want to
meals.
cook, you just
Yeah,
want them to do
for
the work
weekends. They got big old thing of lasagna. It's great, man. And then also the restaurant, they got great appetizers. Obviously, you just talked about the entrees and the dessert. So that's the place to be. We will be there Friday, and I'm hyped.
for you. Yeah, we thought we
Hype
were.
Man Productions go. I love going there.
Yeah, we thought we were out tomorrow. We'll be in studio tomorrow, but we'll be at the Mercado on Friday. I always love it because when you two start talking, the fan in me comes out, and I want to get out of the way because watching or listening to two people who excelled at the highest level, went through several things to get there and to stay there. I love asking athletes this: tougher to get there or stay there?
I'm going to say stay there. That was the first thing that I ever was told. It's like it's one thing to get there, it's another thing to stay there. And because it's easy to get that aspect and the understanding of like, ooh, I had that taste. That's why we call it a cup of tea. Because you just had a cup of tea. But to be able to stay there and play and establish yourself and sign multiple contracts, that's different. Football is obviously a different dynamic in the aspect of what they do. And never stepped on a football field to understand what they do, never will understand that. But from my perspective, and Jay, you can speak on this as well from your perspective, is I was always told it's easy to get here. And not saying easy in that aspect.
It's easier.
Well, the
It's
blood's
easier
thinner.
to get there.
The blood's
Yes.
thinner, right? Like, I mean, there's, you're climbing through, elite talent climbs through.
Yeah.
It's just when you get into the thick of it, your ability to stay in that space.
And the one thing that, like, I always try to get through people's head, I go, you understand, I can look and see who's trying to take my job every day. Every day. And then the other thing I try to tell them, I'm like, you go to movies, correct? We all go to movies. He gets to fail 30 times, but you get to watch me live.
Right.
I don't have the chance to fail.
Right.
Because that's my job.
And you were in the Mecca. Like, you were in the more eyes, more lights, more microphones. That space, Jay and I have talked often, man. Being sent to New York and LA.
You gotta be it's a totally different type of mentality that you have to be. And that's I think the bigger part of performing is New York, Philly, I guess LA for different reasons. If you're in Vegas and Boston's along there, but Vegas for distractions, it's a totally different mentality.
But what do you think from the football side, like getting there or staying there? Like,
you know, what's crazy.
What were you told?
Yeah, my dad told me he didn't say it was easy getting there, but it's going to be easier getting there. One, because you're younger and cheaper, so you might get multiple shots, and then two,
right?
And then the hardest thing is sticking, because depending on where there's a whole thing where you get drafted and all this other stuff, how much what your shelf life can be, and how many times you're going to get a second, third, sometimes fourth, fifth chances, depending on position as well, which is totally different than baseball. A lot of things that nullify football players from playing another year, 2 or 3, has nothing to do with performance. See, like the thing about baseball that's so great, hockey as well, where they really look at your production versus football. There's a lot of things that go into football decision have nothing to do with it. If you can still pitch or you can still hit, you're going to play. And whereas football, you see a lot of guys that are done early. It's hard to stick. And what people don't understand is you have to be self-motivated to find something to improve on every year. You might be comfortable in a system. Here comes a new linebacker coach that has totally new language, a new defensive coordinator, a coach gets fired. Your head scout that really liked you gets fired. The GM goes and gets the assistant GM that got you there, goes and is a GM. Then on top of it, as you get in the league, there's more at stake. You might have kids. You might finally buy your house. You might finally get the car that you want. You might be right on the cusp of the contract year. Well, your contract year could be tied to how much notoriety you get based on the wins and losses. Well, it ain't got nothing to do with you. Quarterback up there and having a bad year, doesn't matter if Jabba does. So there's a lot of things that go into it. And then on top of sticking, because the way the NFL is this is the funny, I'll tell you this story. When we were down in Houston and I've been playing well or whatever, but this dude that was like the second in command at the GM, he would come in every day, and I'll never forget it because I never played golf, but I knew they were golf shoes because they were FootJoys, and we had guys that play. And I was joking with Aaron Glenn, who's the defensive coordinator now at Detroit, and Aaron kind of taught me all the business side. And I said, man, every day this dude comes in like he just untied his shoes and got off the golf course, and they had a little bit of a turf.
But
on.
he did.
Yeah, he did, and he came off the golf course. Aaron just said, yeah, they probably were playing 18 holes and see which one of us they wanted to get rid of. He's like, they're always in here looking at you every single day to try to find a younger and cheaper replacement. And that's the difference, about sticking. And you always got to find a way to be the we could probably replace him, but he does this well. This is the quality that he needs. And so it's hard, man. And that's where you see guys where the longevity is key in the organization, the situation. For instance, Yankees. Like there's some teams that are always really invested in developing their farm talent, right? Versus some guys, they'll have guys down there and there's their bargaining tools, right?
Okay, so my question too. Understand, before we get to the big leagues,
right?
Technically, you have to go through 5 levels. So how does that relate, and how is that different for you guys? That whether you go undrafted,
if you go undrafted, you're going through 5 levels. If you're first round pick, you're at level 5. But it also depends. Remember when Jimmy Johnson took over the Dolphins?
Yeah,
right. So everything was even, whether you're a first round pick or a 5th round pick like Zach Thomas. If you could play, you instead of going through 5 levels and they see you can play, you only got to go through 2 levels. Now we got to see you in the first 6 games. So it's Jason Taylor. So guys but then it's the reverse. When a new and young coach comes in, guess who has to go through the 5 stages sometimes?
They do.
The veterans. Versus the young guys are on, because they have no obligation to you. And that's kind of like a little bit what you see in college now. So it's different by sport, but it's all kind of there. And, there's a lot of organizations that are known not to develop the young talent and kind of use them as bargaining tools. Whereas some, teams you'll see a guy play there 6-7 years. Like Pittsburgh was known for that forever. You'd see linebackers remember when they had Chad Brown, they had Levon Kirkland, and who was the other inside guy? But then Chad Brown left and went to Seattle, and he played at Pittsburgh for 6 years. Where now that might only have been lasted a year because they we got to get rid of one of them because God forbid we have 3 good guys at one position. So it changes depending on the organization.
And I think that's the same. Like baseball is so different because in the minor league aspect,
right,
you don't get to see these dudes every day.
Right.
You don't get to see what they do. Like in the Yankees in that aspect, like exactly what you said, they were known for I'm going to trade everything I got to get Kevin Brown's a perfect example. Randy Johnson's a perfect example. I mean, Randy Johnson literally signed 2 years and he knocked down a reporter when he wanted to interview.
Right.
But he won 17 games a year.
Right.
For 2 years, and nobody
said
gave 2 things about it.
Right.
And you have that, and I think, but that's why I asked the question is the understanding of the development in football compared
I think
to baseball.
I think it's probably weaned a bit because that's why you see such a drastic difference in pay or play from a guy that's a starter and a guy that's behind him. There's no in between. There's no stop gaps anymore. It's like, let's just hope and pray this guy doesn't lose 2 or 3 games so we can wait till Jabba gets back. Then we can get back to winning. But that's the development part, but that trickles down to college, which is should be our minor leagues. It's not and then it trickles down to high schools because you're not getting taught the fundamentals. So, it's a little bit different than baseball. The one thing, about baseball, I wanted to ask you about what's it like? Say I went to Nebraska and I was, I don't know, a middle round pick. How hard is it to go and probably start at AA, right? That's probably be right where they're at. If you're a middle round pick, would it be AA?
No, you'd probably be
So
low
okay, so how
low A, high A.
So so if you're just an average pick, a guy that was a good player, maybe you need a developer, get a little bit. How hard is it to go from single A to finally get that call to the majors?
I mean, if you're going down and you want to do it, there's technically 7 levels of what we do. But if you're going in and it's a high school kid, he's going to go to probably single A.
Right.
So there's 3 aspects of single A. There's short season, there's low A, and there's high A. That's just getting out of A ball.
Right.
Then you've got
double
A, and triple A, and then you go. I had the opportunity that I missed a few of them. So I started at high A.
Right.
Then went to double A and triple A. The most nerve-wracking time
was triple A?
Was triple A.
Because you're right there, right?
Well, and it was not only because I was right there,
right,
but you had dudes that were in the big leagues that were still, and they were
back and forth,
right. And they were complaining, and they were going, and it's just like double A was the change,
right?
Because you had dudes,
right?
And like we've talked about earlier, when you're a dude, you're a dude,
right?
You understand that. But AAA was like, I'm so close,
to making it, to getting there,
to getting that call,
right?
And I want to ask you a question, and hopefully we have enough time. When you got the call, what did it feel like?
Oh, it was relief when I got drafted. Hey, man, it went from there was a lot of linebackers in the draft, but I was like, man, I'm a 4-year starter in Nebraska. Stat did everything I needed to do. It's just the depth there. Then, thought I was going to get drafted by Carolina in the end of 3rd. Thought I was going to get drafted in the 4th. You get to the 5th.
Still mad. I was still mad.
Then I thought I was like, man, I'm going to go to the Redskins. That's where I'm from. Nope. And then you get in the 5th round. 5th round goes. Then you're like, do I even want to get drafted? Then you're worried about your ego. And then next thing you know, 716 called. So it was relief. I was excited because it's a goal that I always want. And it's funny. All through college, I was like, man, if I could just get a chance, if I could get drafted and I could play 3 years, I'd be more than happy. But once you're there, you're like, I want more. So it was relief, and I was excited.
You got a taste. You got a taste.
And because I felt like I was good enough. I really felt like I could play football. And it was the best thing that ever happened to me because, I got to be in a good locker room.
Right.
And learn from and we were winning, and I learned what it took to win at a different place and a different way as a professional. So that was it was great, man. It was stressful, but it was always a relief because you just never know.
That's something you bring up that I would love to ask both of you.
Yeah.
You talk about winning and that feeling of knowing when you go into a situation of what it is to win.
Yeah.
I played with Torrey Hunter. He never got a chance to win. He goes, I would give up $100 million
for one win. Yeah. Yeah. That's a good question, man. That's a deep question. So it's going to take a little bit longer than we got. So we're going to have to go to break. I got to think about how I can articulate these answers because that's people get their feelings hurt when you tell them the truth. So we're going to go to break and then come back, and we're going to talk about what it's like to win and what would you give up to be, in my case, a Super Bowl champion.
I won too.
Yeah, I know. So this is Java Chamberlain, Jay Foreman, DP. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Old School with DP and J. Download the mobile app and listen wherever you are on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
There's nothing quite like the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese Beef. The Mercado offers unique ingredients you can't find anywhere else, open every day from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. The full-service butcher shop and retail store is wonderful for meat lovers with their exclusive certified Piedmontese beef and assorted sausages, plus other quality meats, including pork, chicken, and a wide range of the freshest seafood. Plus, every Friday from 11 to 2, the Mercado serves up the best lunch in town on their Friday Feast menu. Stop in at the Mercado today at 84th and Havelock or visit their website at cpmercado.com to see current deals.
Tractor Supply is looking for full-time team members for their Waverly Distribution Center. Tractor Supply has a new progressive pay model where team members receive 5 wage increases in the first 2 years of employment with the ability to earn up to $24 per hour. Applicants can expect a 3- and 4-day work week schedule with additional overtime days with both day and night shift schedules available. At Tractor Supply, they work hard, have fun, and make money. Apply today at tractorsupply.jobs.
Hi, I'm Charlie Stone, and I'm back with Andy Goodyear, General Manager of Honda of Lincoln. Andy, you said to me earlier you have a lot going on at the dealership. Can you tell our listeners about it?
Sure can, Charlie. As I've said before, if you don't see a vehicle on our lot that you're looking for, it's probably on its way soon.
So, how many new Hondas do you have in stock or on the way?
We have a total of over 325, Charlie, with a great selection of Pilots and Ridgelines in stock right now.
Well, we have been talking about the Honda of Lincoln way of buying cars for several months. How is that going?
People love it. We're buying all makes and models, whether they purchase the car from us or not. I mean, really, it's a no hassle, and we will pay them cash on the same day.
Come experience the Honda of Lincoln way of doing business. 27th and Yankee Hill Road, or online at hondaoflincoln.com.
Eustace Body Shop, where our customers send their friends. That's the greatest compliment we can receive. If you've been in an accident, we'll get you back in your vehicle as quickly as possible. Our technicians care about you and your family and repair your vehicle to factory standards. We handle your claim from start to finish and provide a free loaner car. Stop by for a free estimate. Eustace Body Shop, just south of 88th and Highway 2.
The most recommended Eustace Body Shop. That's who we are.
You had to know that when Wingstop set out to make a crispy, juicy chicken sandwich, they wouldn't make it in just one flavor. They'd make it in all 12, like lemon pepper, mango habanero, hickory smoked barbecue, and OG hot. So why have one new favorite chicken sandwich when you can have 12? Try the new sauced and tossed Wingstop chicken sandwich today for only $5.49 at Wingstop, where flavor gets its wings. Valid for a limited time and available at participating Wingstop locations only while supplies last. Price subject to applicable taxes and fees.
The most innovative ag technology that exists today on display in one place at the Nebraska Ag Expo. Autonomous and robotic equipment, precision ag, commodity marketing gurus, and more. All in the brand new Innovation Hub at the Nebraska Ag Expo. Come check it out December 6th, 7th, and 8th at the Lancaster Event Center in Lincoln. Register online at nebraskaagexpo.com to get your tickets in advance and save $5. The Nebraska Ag Expo is sponsored by Farm Credit Services of America and Ag Direct.
Acres, your John Deere dealer, is offering year-end blowout savings on in-stock 2022 compact tractors and mowers. Make quick work of chores around your acreage and save over $4,000 on select John Deere compact tractors equipped with a loader and rear blade. Or save up to $1,000 on select 2022 John Deere Z-Trax and lawn tractors. Visit your local Acres store or acres.com to get these great discounts. Acres, solutions for every field. Discounts available on in-stock units while supplies last.
Rico here with HIS Auto Care at 70th and Van Dorn, letting you know HIS is a great place to bring your vehicle for service. With superior service bumper to bumper, we'll treat your vehicle like it's your mother's. Doesn't get any better than that. So call 402-488-8934 and HIS Auto will make you glad you did. 5% off, mention this ad, and for sure your mother will be proud you called. 402-488-8934, HIS Auto Care, 70th and Van Dorn. God bless you.
You're listening to Old School with DP and J on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
We are back, Old School. Jay Foreman, DP, Jabba Chamberlain stepping in for us. We're out here at Tanner's, 30th and Yankee Hill. Before break, we were talking about winning. That could be like a four-day tutorial or whatever.
That's a loaded question.
Yeah, it is. I just think winning is one of those things. Once you experience it, you're willing to do anything and everything to get back. And it does so many things for you. But I think right now it's hard for athletes to really understand what we say is because we played sports unconditional. They do it now with conditions. unconditionally playing is knowing that you're going to show up every day, be in tune with what you need to do individually and obviously collectively if you're, in a team aspect, and give your all and then some, with no guarantee to win. A conditional athlete or conditionally showing up like that, they want to know what they're going to get if they do it. And so the investment is hard to get, but and that's why culture is so huge. And sometimes, being a champion has nothing to do with being with winning the, trophy. It's about how you go about embracing the process. And obviously we struggled at times like that here in Nebraska. But I always say this: if I could wish one thing for these kids for Christmas, is the experience of winning a game or winning a championship, or in this case, making a bowl game. Because obviously we did it so much in college, it was wasn't taken for granted, but we did it. But these guys haven't experienced it, and that's why it's so huge.
But you say you take it for granted.
Well, I don't take it for granted. I just figured we just did what we did.
But that's my point. That's a mindset.
Yeah.
It's like we knew we were going to go out and do that. And that's like before we left break, it was like we were talking about winning. But winning is a mindset.
Right.
It's understanding the fact that when you step on the field, I'm better than you.
Yeah.
Even if I'm not.
Right.
Even if I'm not, if I have the mindset, I'm going to go prove it to you
Right.
that I'm better than you. And I think we had so many guys in every aspect. Like I look at my mindset when I knew dudes that I pitched against were better than me.
Right.
I knew they were, but they weren't going to outwork me.
Right.
And you guys in the same aspect, and I can ask you this question, is like, you knew it's like you had to challenge each other. And it was like, I went to Division II at high school.
Right.
Then I went to Nebraska. We had a kid, he was like, oh, he's going to be a 3rd round pick, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, no, that ain't it. I'm going to go beat him. I'm going to be the Friday night guy.
Right.
And so you guys were so successful because I feel like you guys challenged each other every day. So is that a mindset of the people they bring in, or is it what they do and teach?
It's a little bit of both. I think one thing that Coach Osborne doesn't get enough credit for is his the psychology about how he went, at least in my opinion, recruited kids and then had certain kids in the room. So you had an older alpha or potential, and then who would take somebody else younger underneath there. Then you had a guy that had more edge, that would push each other and maybe wasn't as crisp in everything he did, but he's the guy that's going to be the tempo setter. Then you had guys that would just always shut up and show up. And so the way he built his room, where you would constantly challenge each other. You had guys that would push each other's buttons to see how far they could push you, just to see if you would quit or not. Coaches would challenge you, but it's all for the betterment of yourself. And we knew if you were mentally tough, and mentally tough is just, it's not even about, people think like toughness is like always they equate it to going and like, beating somebody up. Toughness is essentially doing a lot of things that you don't want to do, but doing it to the maximum, even though you don't want to do it. And that's a part of it. But that's a big thing that separated us. There was days that you think we showed up every day, not sore, wanting to hit, wanting to take on ISOs, but we thought it's worth it when we win a championship. The ISO doesn't feel as bad.
And at the same time, like the one thing of all of that you said, Jay, like shut up or show up.
Yeah.
That's it. And that's in life.
Yeah.
That's not only in what you do on the field, in every aspect. Shut up or show up.
Yeah.
Be about it.
Yeah.
Understand what it is. Like, you got a problem, let's figure it out. Either you're going to show up or you're going to shut up. Because at the same time, when you shut up, see ya.
Yeah.
I'm out.
Yeah. People don't understand. If you go back and, like, there's never, I was thinking about this, there's never any championship teams, doesn't matter any sport, that doesn't go through adversity. You got to think, like, Say Buffalo goes on and wins the Super Bowl.
You would say Buffalo.
Well, I'm just saying. Only reason I'm saying is because
I do love
they
Josh Allen, by the way.
they just lost on Miller for the whole season. That's a Hall of Fame player. That's a closer.
And that's an excuse to not.
That's
win.
an excuse. But if
you're looking for one,
right, that's it. So that's the adversity you overcome. Right. Say they potentially lose a game that they weren't supposed to, and then they got to go through like the wild card round to do it. San Francisco, Jimmy Garoppolo, he's out. Now can you get Purdy to do it? The Dallas Cowboys had Cooper Rush. In all the times like where the Patriots, they'd have got key guys out. Then they somehow get a guy that was on the practice squad to step in and make a big play. Troy Brown playing receiver and safety. Heck, I saw one time they had Troy Brown at safety, Julian Edelman playing slot corner. So these are the things when you're thinking about when you win and you're celebrating and you're thinking like, you know what, all of it's worth it. See Ed Reed up there, and he's talking about the time when what really changed when Harbaugh was a newer coach there, and they were extremely physical practices, and you got a lot of veterans that are Hall of Fame players. During the bye week, they decided we're going to embrace it, but then also we're going to start worrying about the details, and it came all the way down to the locker room being clean. And so
towels on the floor.
So you got to imagine one grown man talking to another about you not keeping your space clean in the big scheme of things. When you're 4-4 going into the bye week means minimal because you're focused on trying to get the next win, and there's not a direct correlation in the lazy mind. But then it led to the small details and how you went about practice, studying, and then playing, and they end up winning a championship.
And my whole thing is I go back to this in the baseball aspect. That is literally what we say, Wally Pipp. Do you know who Wally Pipp is?
Yeah, he took a day off.
Took a day off. What did Lou DeGuerre do?
Made it his crib.
Yeah.
2,600.
Don't be that guy. Don't be that guy. Yeah.
He knew when he got his chance, he wasn't going to let that up.
Is that? I mean, Jay talks about the not wanting regret to be a part of your process.
Yeah, the pain of discipline is
Right.
worth the agony. Is worth not experiencing the agony of regret. That's the worst feeling. That's why I always talked about Nebraska coming back from Ireland, and you heard players talking about, well, we didn't hit for 2 weeks. The regret of thinking when I'm on that 8-hour flight, thinking, well, just think if maybe we hit 2 practices. Maybe if we hit the Thursday before the Saturday game, we wouldn't have missed so many tackles. And where did we go wrong?
Do you think, too, in that aspect of, like, what they say is, like, when does a leader on that team, I don't care if they're a captain or not, says, hey, I think we need to do something different.
Right.
And do you feel like as a player, and we've all been in that situation, when is that okay? Or do you see that aspect of them being able to say that?
Well, that all depends on the relationship, the coach and stuff like that. But you definitely would like to have that to be an option because it doesn't matter even what level that you're coaching at. Once you get kids of a certain age, and I know I've realized this in basketball,
don't get me started on basketball, Jay. Don't get me started on basketball, Jay. Please don't.
As my kids got older, I would ask them, what are you seeing? How are you feeling? They're playing because what they view as could be going on in the game or what they know is because they're playing it.
Oh, boy.
Is not maybe what I'm seeing sitting over there on the bench. And so
that's the first question off the floor. That's literally the first
but I
question
mean,
off the floor.
but then they have a relationship where they feel like they can say it.
Yeah.
And I might be like, no, that's. And sometimes what you're seeing isn't, or what you're feeling as a player isn't really what's happening. But those lines of communication is got to be there because you know what? I just felt like, okay, if this is what they're seeing and we're okay, let's try this. They're going to take more ownership of it. So even if it's not right, it'll work out ideally.
Yeah. Can we have a show on just basketball, please? Because
it's a unique sport.
I'm at this point too, and you know as well as I do, in all of sports, there's politics and everything that goes along with it. But it is literally like watching my son as a junior in high school. The frustrating part is watching somebody that is a better player and watching somebody play in front. And do you think that's
That's a big part of it, which is again we're not used to. I've never experienced Lincoln sports. I've never experienced. I've never done this before. This is all new to me, man.
I love that. I love that you just said that. I love that you just said that.
It's all new to me. And
welcome.
And
say welcome.
And it's hard. I've coached. We club basketball. I mean, it's kind of like what you get what you earn. But that's just not the way it is right now. And the one thing I will say, high school seasons aren't as paramount if they have aspirations to go to college as club ball, because they can go, and the reason why they can go and watch you play 5 games versus 1 good game or 1 bad game.
Right.
Make a fair evaluation. But it means something to them because they're playing in front of their friends, family, colleagues, and they're playing against their a teammate that they have in the summer or spring, and people that they all kind of measure themselves against. And the one thing I will say about this as well is the players know.
Right.
You know that.
Right.
You know who can deal and who can get down and who can't. And it does. And they all. And here's what is really unique is they watch 2 years under them and 2 years above them, so they know every player. And with social media and people being able to post their highlights, they all know about each other. And so.
Well, and those situations often answer your question. They go back to, well, why am I playing here instead of playing AAU ball? Why play high school basketball versus
That's
AAU?
what it's going to come down to.
That's what it comes down to.
That might be part of the deal, and that's why you got to make sure the relationships are key. The communication is key. The ability and communication is being able to approach a coach and try to get it. Now, you might not like the answer.
Right.
But as long as you're getting a response and a legitimate answer, generally, I figure I can deal with it.
But I think communication is the one thing that gets misunderstood in the aspect of exactly what you said. It's like you may not like the answer, but at the same time, let me be able to come talk to you and not feel like I'm getting attacked or I'm going to be punished for that.
Right. Yeah.
And that's the way it should be. Yeah. It's like, hey, what do I need to do to be better?
Right.
Like, is there something that I'm not doing?
Well, as a coach, you appreciate the player asking you that.
Right.
Like literally asking
you
that question.
Made my job easier.
Yeah.
And then actually, to be honest with you, as a coach, there's things that you might not see that you two might be doing well. So then I'm like, okay, maybe we need to work on your ball handling. Maybe you need to work on your off the ball defense. Maybe you need to run the court harder. Well, then I'm watching Job or DP and say, okay, let me see if they're improving it. And then I'm like, okay, you know what? He's been doing this really well. Let me go back and watch some tape. And so it's the attention to detail. Those are the small things. The small things are as simple as communication.
Doing the uncommon things uncommonly well.
Right.
Well, that's when I know I'm coaching at my highest level, when I ask that question and then I hear the answer.
So, DP, let me ask you a question.
Actually hear the player say, because they're asked, what do you see? And they may be wrong, but they may be right.
Yep.
And that can be the difference between when we turn the corner and don't turn the corner.
Because I think that's an aspect of what it is. It's like I may see something that you don't see, but you may see something that I don't see. But when you have the communication as a coach and you have the openness in the activity of what it is to where it's like, hey, we're going to say something, but you're able to say something back and not feel like you're going to get.
Nope, it's always in coaching speak in the vacuum I'm in, we call it shared IQ. What you know as a player, what I know as a coach, but what we know together makes us both better at what we do. So it's the good stuff. But this is why we bring in Jabba to have these conversations. Jay Foreman, Jabba, well done. Job well done. This is a great deal. I want to thank the folks from Tanner's for allowing us to come hang out for 2 hours each. This Wednesday. We'll do it again soon. Jabba, you and I have a conversation to have.
We're going to have one.
Yeah, we got to get this done. Thank you all for listening, you folks in the text line, you folks on the live stream. We greatly appreciate you. This has been exceptional. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow.